All right, today we're going to talk about the Three Sisters method that's been around since the Native Americans, and why they work together, why the corn, the squash, and the pole beans work fantastic together, how they feed off of each other and just create this organism that just grows together perfectly over time. And how in this method it's a little bit different than what, since we're in a raised bed, how it's a little bit different as if you had more space. But we're going to cover all that, and we're going to talk about this fertilizer and how to feed and what's important. And sometimes you talk about things that need to be done, and as far as the fertilizer goes, we're going to talk about how to feed them, when, and why it's important. Let's talk about what's actually going on here. The Three Sisters are the corn, pole beans, and squash. And the reason they've been planted together for centuries is because each does something for others. The corn goes first, it gets tall, and the stalks become natural trellises for the beans to climb. No stakes, no cage. The corn does it for free. The beans, this is a part that people don't talk about enough. The beans fix nitrogen in the soil. They've got bacteria living on the roots. They pull nitrogen right out of the air. That's free fertilizer happening underground all season long. And the squash, that spreads out low and wide. Those big leaves shade the ground, which means less weeds, less water evaporation, and it keeps the soil cooler in the summertime, which here in Raleigh in July means a lot. What we got for corn, we're going to talk about varieties really quick before we go much further. We got the Silver Queen corn. We grew this last year. This stuff is fantastic. It's so beautiful. It's so white. It's so sweet and juicy. Looking forward to getting this out of the ground. And then we got our green beans down here. This variety here is the Kentucky Blue Smooth. These things are fantastic. We still have a couple jars in the pantry that we got out of these. They're so flavorful. The strings are very few and far between on these beans. They're so good. I highly recommend them. They produce like nobody's business. All right, and for this squash, we only got I think 2 of these last year because we planted in another bed and we actually forgot about them. And we came out there one day and we saw this beautiful little orangish yellow squash, and it was just fantastic. It tasted so good. Okay, this is the prolific straight neck squash. It is award-winning, and I will have to say, what we got off of this last year for 1 or 2 pieces, I am not a squash fan by any stretch of the imagination. It was so good. It was so sweet. Can't wait to get some more of it this year. Okay, so let's talk about fertilizer again. I know I talked about in the beginning about how the beans produce the nitrogen and these things all work together. The squash needs a little bit different of a timing on the fertilizer, as the beans don't need hardly any nitrogen because they're already creating the nitrogen for the corn. But that being said, in a bed like this, you're really not getting the nitrogen from the beans this time of year. It takes a couple years for those roots from those beans to break down in the soil to create a natural nitrogen for the corn. So it's really not true that they're kind of feeding them this year, because it takes a couple years. And you really want to do a crop rotation. So like if you were in an area, say like if we used our whole in-ground garden back there, we could move the beans to the other side of the garden, move the corn to the other side of the garden, move the squash in a different spot. As the roots from the beans break down, you're getting that nitrogen in that area where next year you might grow the corn. And then the following year you do it again. You just kind of rotate back and forth. Over time, that will become the nitrogen that you need to get into the corn. What we're gonna do is we're going to supplement that, because we have to, because like I said, the beans aren't doing their job this year. So I'm going to use this Plant-Tone organic fertilizer. We pretty much use this on everything. You've heard us mention this in our videos. I mean, I know we're talking about this, but just to kind of give you an example of how this stuff works. I mean, like I said, we use this on everything. These are our loofahs that are growing. We got some peanuts growing in here. This was initially done with some Plant-Tone. You can see our cucumbers. We've gotten the biggest probably crop of cucumbers that we've ever gotten. And really, this is really our first year that we've really concentrated on making sure that we get the right fertilizer in at the right time. So just kind of give you an example of how this stuff works. Going back to this, we're gonna supplement this. And when I say high nitrogen, someone would think, okay, I need maybe like a 12 or 15, which is true if you're doing synthetic. So when you look at this pack, that's the other thing about organic that's a little different than synthetic. The things that you get on here that are not in synthetic are, some of the things that help this organic. So yeah, it says 5, but the things in this, your feather mill and the other things that are along in this that break down over time it just gives you, it's not really a 5. It's a higher nitrogen level, as these other organic things are in here and they're gonna break down over time. So they do bring the nitrogen up. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go in here and we're just gonna side feed this. Because the other thing you wanna do when it's time to feed the corn, right when it starts to grow, right? You wanna get it up about 6 inches or so. You're gonna throw your all-purpose fertilizer on there, and then this is what's exciting about this right now. Right when you start seeing the silk come out like this on this corn, you want to go ahead and hit it with another level of fertilizer. And that's pretty much it, because it's not going to be long before we start seeing corn here. We're probably talking another 3 weeks. I know where I grew up in Ohio, this time of year, they would say knee high by 4th of July. Well, we're definitely over knee high right now. We're probably looking at a 10-foot tall corn. We're gonna put a link up to our corn video from last year. It was fun, it was cute. We did it. It was a lot of fun. We got a ton of views on that, and it was just this really neat little short that we did on our corn. So that's where we're at on the fertilizer. So we talked about the corn. Beans, we're gonna leave them alone. We're not gonna do anything to them. They have enough of what they need to do what they need to climb up this corn. So no fertilizer here. So we'll side dress this corn in the middle, and we'll let these beans just do their thing. They don't need anything as far as fertilizer goes. And then once we have the squash starts to fruit, we're gonna go ahead and put some of that garden tone again. One tip, once you start seeing your fruit on here, you wanna go in and pinch off the squash runners so the energy stops going into the vines and it starts going into your fruit. You're gonna get a better harvest of fruit, and you're not gonna be wasting a lot of energy on the plant itself. Okay, I know I talked about timing. I just wanna talk about that a little bit more. So what you wanna do when you're planting your corn, a single row of corn is not gonna work, because these have to pollinate. These are not self-pollinators, so they need the pollen to come down from the top of this. When these things branch out, the pollen's gonna drip down and it's gonna land on this silk, and it needs to get on this in order to produce the corn on the cob. So you need to make sure. So you wanna plant these in blocks. Like if you didn't have this much space, I would recommend at least a 4x4 area to where these corn, because they're going to cross pollinate, so the wind needs to blow and the pollen needs to fall. And if you don't feel like you're getting enough, you can always just come out here every once in a while. I'll just come out here and walk around and just kind of shake them to get the pollen to come down, which is helpful when you're in an area like this. You don't have the huge field where everything's blowing around and you get lots of cross pollination. It's a good idea to come out here and shake them up and move them around a little bit. And then you got your beans down here. You want to put these, like I said, about when the corn gets up to be about 12 inches, right? And you want to get these in the ground. And look, I'm gonna eventually start training these, climb up this corn. And they'll naturally just start going up. And I mean, if you ever grown beans, green beans before, you can see this one's already starting to grab on and go up the corn. So, and then once you got that, about a week later, that's when you're gonna put your squash in the ground. And that's pretty much what we did. You can see progression in this. And corn grows fast. I mean, we put this in I think the end of April. So you can see April, May, basically 3 months. You know, and here we are. This is 10-foot tall corn. The beans are coming up great. We'll see how they go. I was a little concerned about them being shaded, but I don't know how that's gonna work here. We'll see what happens. And the squash, you can see that stuff is growing great. Traditionally, you would have that squash growing down through here. I'm assuming you're gonna do it in mounds in between the rows of corn, and it would grow like that. We're kind of going out of order we're not really being able to set this up because we do not have the amount of space that we have. So the concept is there. It's you know, we'll try to get the squash to run down here through the corn. Ideally, if I wanted less corn, I guess I could have probably done a block, done some squash, done a block, done some squash. And maybe that's what we'll do next year. This is the first time we're doing this, so we'll see how it works. But just thinking about that's probably a good way to do it, is just kind of do like 4 blocks of 4 and put your couple squash plants, couple squash plants, couple squash plants, and then put your beans in there. So there you have it, the 3 sisters method. Like I said, it's a little off, but the concept is there. We're really looking forward to the beans, the corn, and the squash. Obviously, the corn's gonna be coming soon, the beans later, and then our squash. I'm not sure what the mature rate on that is, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This has been something that again, from our tomatillo video, you will also see these are some things that we tried differently throughout our garden, you know, over the years, because it does get kind of boring just growing the same thing. So we like to kind of branch out and see what we can do. And this was something we actually saw on an Amish video. That's how long this has been going on. I understand they use this method a lot. And of course, back, you know, American Indians been using this well, they were using it when they were around. And so this is a method that we're trying, and we're looking forward to see what we get out of this. All right, there you you have it. That's our Three Sisters method. A little off tradition, but we have our three things in the garden: the squash, the corn, the beans. We're looking for the production here. I want to remind you guys, we appreciate all your support, your comments. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button. Make sure you check out our merchandise. Go to our website. We have a couple sites out there floating around that sell merchandise. This is our apiary shirt that we did this year. I think it looks fantastic. So make sure you go check out some things. There's some really fun things on there to purchase, and we really appreciate your support. And remember, come grow with us.